Alec Murdaugh found guilty on all counts for the murders of his wife and son. It's a trial that captured the nation's attention for weeks. And now, today, in just a matter of hours, we could find out how long Murdaugh will spend in prison.
Yes, and it took a South Carolina jury just a couple of hours to reach a decision following the 6-week-long trial. I was actually here in the building having a meeting last night when it happened. It comes more than 20 months following the murder of Murdaugh's wife, Maggie, and youngest son, Paul, who were found shot to death on their rural estate. The trial filled with gripping testimony. Alec Murdaugh even taking the stand himself, admitting to financial crimes and admitting that he lied to police, but staying steadfast that he was innocent of murdering his family.
Then he sounded odd, and then he told me that my mom and brother had been shot.
Mr. Griffin, I didn't shoot my wife or my son anytime.
The defendant was the one person who was living a lie, and the defendant is a person where his own storm would actually mean consequences for Maggie and Paul. When those pressures mount, someone becomes a family annihilator.
Guilty verdict. Guilty, guilty, guilty.
Let's get out to senior national correspondent Brian Enton. He was live outside the courthouse when this verdict came down and when Alec Murdaugh was walked outside of the court, and he's out there today. Brian.
Adrienne, wow, it was a 6-week trial, and it is not over yet. We've got the sentencing coming up now in just 2.5 hours, and I want to show you the courthouse here, Colleton County, South Carolina. There is already a crowd gathering here outside the courthouse, lined up, some of them here almost all night with their chairs. I just talked to a couple who came here all the way from Baltimore yesterday because they wanted to be inside the courtroom for the sentencing. Murdaugh faces anywhere from 30 years to life in prison. Prosecutors not asking for the death penalty, but at the hearing this morning, it's really going to be interesting to see whether he takes the stand, whether his son Buster addresses the court in support of his dad, and there's even the possibility that Maddie Murdaugh's family could speak. Maggie Murdaugh, would they speak for or against Alec? Everyone's going to be watching that very, very closely. I don't think anyone out here expected all of this to be happening so fast after a 6-week trial. A verdict last night, just 3 hours of deliberations. The prosecutor spoke after the jury read their verdict.
We're not going to comment on sentencing because that's still pending, but justice was done today. It doesn't matter who your family is. It doesn't matter how much money you have or people think you have. It doesn't matter what you think, how prominent you are. If you do wrong, if you break the law, if you murder, then justice will be done in South Carolina.
Okay, so the sentencing happening this morning at 9:30 local time, but there's still so much more to this. And when you talk to people in this community, they bring it up. They feel like this isn't over. Yes, the murder trial is over, but there are dozens and dozens of financial crimes that Alec Murdaugh is accused of, some that he even admitted to during the trial. How is that going to play out? We'll have to watch very, very closely. And then there's the death of Stephen Smith, the young man who was found dead in the middle of the road back in 2015, and the questions about whether his death is connected to Alec Murdaugh. His family saying now they want justice. So all of this just far from over, Adrienne.
Thank you for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find News Nation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of News Nation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.